Greetings from Costa Rica and welcome to this 2/3 of 2023 Real Estate Market Report. My name is Matt Rosenstiel, aka Costa Rica Matt. I'm a realtor here in Guanacaste, and my goal is always to empower potential buyers in Costa Rica and sellers as well with information to make the right decisions. Today, as it's September 8th, we're at an auspicious day, officially 2/3 of the way through the year 2023. That's right, we're 67% of the way through the year. If this were a hockey game, we would be entering the final period, and it's time to reflect on where things stand in the real estate market versus where we thought they would stand this time last year. I'm going to go back and reflect on my predictions that I made in 2022. We'll also look at tourism data. We'll talk about how the market is actually playing out. We'll also discuss the other big item in the news currently in Costa Rica, the weather. And if you're interested in moving to our area and investing in Costa Rica, do be sure to email me. Here's my address, matt@costaricamat.com. Again, this is our 2/3 of 2023 Real Estate Market Report. Stay tuned. Greetings from Guanacaste, folks, and thanks very much for tuning in to this Real Estate Forum number 26 here, Friday, September 8th. As we move into September in Guanacaste and really in Costa Rica, the biggest news right now is obviously the weather here as we transition into really the strongest part of the rainy season in Guanacaste specifically. Really, everything around the province changes at this time of year. And there are also noticeable effects on the real estate market. Obviously, because it's extremely rainy, people don't visit as much during these months. You don't see a lot of real estate sales happening. But I wanted to show just how impressive the rainy season can be. In fact, I put together a few little clips here to show you what's going on. There are rainy skies on the horizon here in Guanacaste. And what I want to emphasize is that there is still a lot of moments where you get this bright, sunny weather, even though it's September. You're able to get out and enjoy the outdoors. One of the huge benefits here at this time of year is the sunsets that are absolutely brilliant. Oh, geez, they're my two precious little kids enjoying a sunset. My apologies. This video clip is to show just how fast it can go from one of these nice afternoons to a serious rain. Let's watch this video from my front porch. And now here, just 30 seconds later, we had only a few drops of rain a minute ago. You're all of a sudden in the middle of an afternoon shower in Guanacaste. By and large, at this time of year, these types of storms come and go. We do see towards October that we'll get more strong weather. The rainstorms in Guanacaste have actually led to what you're about to see. In certain areas of the province, we get flash flooding, which you're about to see here coming in down this river, which is near Bagaces. In our area, in the lowlands of Guanacaste, you really wouldn't see this happen because we don't have macro watersheds. But up in the more mountainous areas here, now when we get these big doses of rain all of a sudden happening, you can get huge cabezas de agua, as they are known here in Costa Rica. A cabeza de agua, that can be our term for today as you're learning Spanish. That's a flash flood, and you do see them barreling down right in the major rivers here in Guanacaste as a result of aguaceros, which are really sort of the downpour, big rain showers that you see. Aguacero would be sort of specifically a way to make the word agua, water, a lot bigger. Aguacero, ton of rain. So without further ado, let's first and foremost talk about looking at where we stand in 2023 in the real estate market. Where did we stand last year, and what were my predictions? First, to go back even further, if you may remember, and if you follow my channel, then you would know that in 21 and 22, Costa Rica was undergoing a real estate surge because so many people wanted to get out of their home country, their restrictive city. They wanted to come down to Costa Rica, find the pura vida, get out to nature, and avoid the lockdowns, find a new lifestyle, etc. At the end of 2022, I actually made a video where I was talking about where I saw the market going over 2023. And because I always want to hold my past self accountable for what I said, here's exactly what I had to say on December 8th, 2022, as we were looking at coming in. So without further ado, let's start talking about my 2023 predictions and where we go from here. It would be nearly impossible for 2023 to be as strong of a year in the Costa Rica real estate market as 2022. And in fact, my main prediction is that 2023 will be an absolute year of cooling or normalization for the Costa Rica real estate market. I think that when we get to the end of 2023, we will have a more balanced equilibrium between buyers and sellers. At that moment when I was recording, we were actually at a very seller's market, or optimal conditions for sellers. You had seen, especially in the exclusive gated communities in Guanacaste, just many, many more buyers than there were available pieces of real estate for sale. Really, I thought that the cooling off would happen, not only because we were coming down from a bubble, but also because, yes, the interest rate changes in the US were going to have an impact on a lot of our prospective buyers, but also that really a lot of the emotional hype of the pandemic had worn off, and we were really entering a normalization where people were going to make more rational decisions. And that could frequently mean not buying Costa Rica real estate in scenarios where they would have in those emotional years. Before I get to how things have played out, I did want to discuss just quickly one of the easy ways, since we don't have an MLS with tons of data to crunch out numbers, we can look at international tourism arrivals in our airport in Guanacaste as a proxy for what's been going on and how this year previously compares to prior years. What I've got here are the years from 2019 through 2023 and 6 months of arrivals, January through June, in our Liberia International Airport here in Guanacaste. And you can see 2019, the blue bar on the screen, we had 365,000 people in those 6 months. Again, those are international arrivals. The first 6 months of 2023, this orange bar on the right-hand side, we've had 60,000 more arrivals, or it's about up 15%. So tourism clearly recovered and is now back to a level that's higher than the pandemic. And you can see the red bar which was 2020, and the yellow bar, 2021, the 2 years that were greatly affected by COVID-19. You would have seen that there were more arrivals in January through June of 19 because the borders were fully open until about March of that year. Then they reopened in November of 2020, but definitely by 2021, you were still seeing only a few travelers here and there. So anyhow, tourism is absolutely as strong as it was prior to the pandemic. But I'm hearing across every source, whether it's huge brokerages, our own team, everybody in Guanacaste is saying that, yes, Costa Rica, Matt, and a number of other people were correct in assuming that 2023 would be a year of cooling off. And that's absolutely what you've seen in our market. Whereas our listing period for prime location properties in the beginning of 2022 was very often under 3 months. And many of those prime properties, if they were priced well, they were selling within a week. That has completely evaporated as a dynamic in the market. And once again, Guanacaste is going back to a place where you're seeing a lot longer listing periods for your average seller. A lot of people then say, well, obviously the demand has dropped out, and Matt, what does that mean? Where can I find deals, and what sort of opportunities are emerging? And I'm having frequent conversations already with people where what I'm explaining are the facts that A, this is a cash market for foreigners, although there is some financing nowadays. All of these sellers own their properties outright. Most of them bought with zero debt pressing them behind the property. And most of these properties are also now paying their operating costs and doing really well because we just had over 400,000 tourists arrive in Liberia in the first 6 months of the year. So these sellers of properties in Guanacaste are now seeing that, yes, it is going back to a longer listing period. But unfortunately for all of you opportunistic buyers out there, that does not mean that we can all of a sudden start presenting all kinds of new opportunities, price reductions, huge discounts, etc. It's more like a really large oil tanker trying to change directions, where you're not going to see a dramatic shift overnight in Guanacaste. Yes, over the past 2 months, I've seen more price reduction emails than you typically see. Really, that's also a function of the seasonality here. Sellers have had their property listed in some cases since January. They saw the high season pass them by through April. Then in June and July, we get another bump in tourism, a lot more visitors. Optimism fills the air again for sellers. But come August, if their property still hasn't sold, September would typically be the month that you would see them sending those price reductions anyhow. So really what I'm seeing is only the beginning of this equalization and really sort of those the balance between buyers and sellers returning to normal. In fact, you've now had buyers making less than full price offers, even in markets like Tamarindo and Flamingo. You've had, like I said, all kinds of sellers with their price reductions trying to catch eyeballs and really sort of get their sale done before next year. And overall, what you're starting to see is just that accumulation of inventory and sellers, where at this time last year, all of the realtors in our area were desperate for listings or any kind of inventory to sell. Now there's a lot more options if you're a buyer looking in Guanacaste. Going forward, if we wanted to talk about the next quadrimestre, looking at finishing out 2023, we are inevitably going to see an uptick and a lot of activity in November and December. The reason I say that is that most of the really professional brokerages and places that are run well are still seeing decent amounts of business, even in September and October. We're not looking at some kind of turnaround, at least just yet, that means our market reverts to something like 2010 or 11. Really, if we thought about the Costa Rica market as having absolutely peaked again in 21 and 22, yes, we're leveling off and have done so in 23. I absolutely think that leveling off will continue. And going forward, we're really looking at, it's sort of like one of those novels where you could choose your own future. And I really think that 2024 is going to be defined by some major variables that are up in the air. And specifically, you could talk about political tension in the United States of America being a huge variable. You could also talk about the ongoing climate emergencies that continue to motivate people to make different decisions as a big variable. And obviously, we have a global economy where the price of debt has just radically changed. I have a feeling that we still haven't seen all of the international economic consequences of that fundamental shift. And any moment, if we see alarms, those closer to black swan events or things that really can bring an economy to its knees, 2024 could either be a year where millions of people are flocking to Costa Rica because they're afraid of political violence, or it could be a year where our market absolutely dies because of the economic fallout that is just brutally eliminating people's capacity to buy here. I will be updating my predictions for 2024 as we get closer to the year. I think I'll still be talking about the same prospective volatility that would define where 2024 heads. As always, do be sure to comment, like, subscribe to my channel. I'm here every Friday giving you information about Costa Rica real estate. It's been an absolute pleasure, and adios.